All right. Is war murder?
Is war murder?
Yes.
Okay, we're talking about just war in general.
Yes.
Right? Is war murder? War can be murder.
Explain.
Okay? All right, yeah. So, for example, when I was in theology school, we talked often about just war. Okay? Like,
what does that mean?
So that just means that someone can actually be justified going into war. All right?
Okay.
And so Christians take, I think there's a large spectrum that individuals take in for Christianity. Some of them are no war, some of them are just war, and some of them are
all war all the time.
Like war not bad, right?
Okay.
And so and as long as our country is the one doing it or starting it or finishing it or whatever, fine. Okay? Let's go. And so there's a lot of different viewpoints on it. But is war murder? No, war is not murder if one is defending oneself, right?
Okay.
Or if there's an actual setting free of people from oppression.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, citation needed.
All right. So I'm going to take this one all the way back, actually, and so I'll use scripture for this. Okay. All right.
Okay.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
And so I think when so for example, I think the just war in terms of like we're defending oneself, right?
Okay.
Is found in the Genesis 14 passage I alluded to earlier. Okay. So there's a war going on. Abram's nephew Lot is taken. Okay. Is captured and
this is the first war.
Made a prisoner.
The first war ever.
First war. And so then Abram and his, and then his mighty men go out. This is separate than David and his mighty men. This is Abram and his mighty men. Okay. It says they're trained men. I say mighty. They're trained men. So he's actually trained them for battle. Okay. And so these 300 plus trained individuals go with Abram to capture Lot.
To capture him back.
To get him back.
Okay. To uncapture him by capturing him.
Right.
All right.
But then it says in verse 17 of chapter 14 that Abram returned from defeating the kings who were with him, and so that he was going to battle with. So there was actually like a victory that he had. To me, it would imply that individuals were actually killed. Okay. That's how you win battles. And so, when it talks about they defeated them and pursued them and brought back, Lot and all of his goods as well as the women and the other people. And so that's me like a defense, right? Like we're defending ourselves here.
Okay.
And so, or there's the other part of going, when we need to set people free from oppression. And I think you find that even in God's actions for his own people in Exodus.
Okay.
And so they were actually captured.
The plagues.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were actually captured in Egypt. And then God sends plagues. And obviously we know the last plague ended up killing people.
It was murder.
Yeah.
Against children.
But not murder. Right?
Okay.
It was God. I mean, this is one of those things that we can discuss. It's like, it brings about almost a whole other topic, right? Beyond just war, is the idea of what God did with the firstborns.
Was he going to do secondborns?
If that didn't work,
if that one didn't work,
no. I mean, God knew this was going to be the final straw.
Okay,
if you were, and so. But my point being is that God went and rescued his own people. He talked about their cries going up to him, and then he rescued them. Okay. And so I do think that when we're talking about just war in general, that there's a sense of, if we're defending ourselves, that's just. Okay. We've got, in other words, if you're being attacked, you got to defend yourself.
Right.
Okay. That's not murder.
I mean, you don't have to.
Well, yeah, you don't have to, but that's not probably very smart.
Who said everyone's smart?
Well, and so, and then the second part would be if there's just blatant oppression toward people groups, and I can already hear people going, well, that's a lot of gray area you're giving there.
That's okay. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, and so I mean, I know that's a lot of gray area there. But I do think when it's just clear, when it's like specifically clear, like there are like, what I would call just simple, clear human right violations. To me, it's like those people are worth defending.
Okay.
Yeah. And so like when there's, when you see the different, like when you see like the genocides that are happening, for example, like in North Africa. Okay. Or there's just like this cleansing in like Nigeria, for example.
Okay.
And it's like, no, like that's not okay. So my point being is, I don't think that all wars are murder. Okay. Going all the way back to that one. I don't think all wars are murder, but I do think that some are. And there's no way around it.
Because why?
Because I think we think about the wars that we've been involved in, right? But there's also wars that have happened across, the world, and it's clear, like, oh no, that war, man, they were just, they absolutely just wanted to annihilate and take over, right?
So that's not cool. That's murder.
Yes.
That's just killing a guy and taking his house.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. 100%.
And living in his house.
All
right. For no other reason other than
we wanted it.
We're stronger than you.
Right. Yeah. We don't like you or whatever.
Okay.
Right. And so it's...
Or you worship a different God than we do.
Yes. Yeah. Or if you can bring it back all the way to there. Yeah. And and I do think that there's... that's the reality. It's like, no, we don't... Like, we just actually... you weren't even an aggressor to us. We just want your land. We want your territory. We want your resources, whatever it may be.
Okay, but the leaders in every time they either decide to go to war every time they decide to go to the war, they should be, if they wanted to be Christian about it, they should run it by God first and see if it's okay, and only go into something that's completely justified according to whatever. Otherwise, it's murder.
Okay, I see. No, I think this is where I think it's really hard.
Okay,
like
that's what I'm saying.
There are going to be people that are going to be very clear that they should take that approach. They should take the approach of what is the Christian ethic in every situation, right?
Okay.
And the problem with that is there's not a consistent Christian ethic.
Right. Right.
That's the problem, right?
Okay.
So like, because there's the pacifist ethic, Christian ethic
of no war ever.
No war ever.
Which means we'll all eventually be murdered.
Right.
Okay.
There is the just war, like we talked about earlier, a little bit. And, so that, in other words, basically, and there's some in the just war camp that believe the only way you're justified going into war is if you are attacked.
Okay.
Right? Like the only reason we were even ethically okay with going to war in World War II was because we were bombed
in Pearl
Harbor.
Okay.
Not because of the atrocities that Germany was doing.
All right.
Where others would say, no, the atrocities in just war would say, no, the atrocities that Hitler was committing against the Jewish people was enough.
Okay.
To be justified to go to war. Okay. And then you would have there's like the other side that goes, well, you know what? In our nation's best interest, we could not allow Germany to swallow up Europe. We're not even looking at it from an ethical point or from a save the Jews point.
We're looking at it from a geopolitical.
We can't allow this dictator and others to take over all of Europe.
Otherwise, we're screwed.
Correct.
Later.
Correct.
Okay. So basically, the pacifists think that anytime we do any war, anything, it's murder.
Correct.
And then there's just levels of what different camps of Christians are deciding is murder versus is not murder when it comes to war.
100%.